Okay guys, this is a CRKT Tomahawk called the Wood Shogun T-Hawk for Tomahawk. And these are pretty well made. I think it's 1095 metal on these, and there's a hickory handle right here, which is a good firm handle. And one of the great things about this too is a lifetime warranty. Of course, you have to replace the handles, and that's a common thing with Tomahawks. And these are very versatile in the sense that they don't weigh that much, and two, you can do some serious cutting with them. And a lot of people like to throw Tomahawks, and this is a nice one for throwing and sticking. And you'd be surprised how easy it is to throw Tomahawks and make them stick. Distance is your number one thing that you use in throwing Tomahawks and making them stick, and we'll look at that a little bit. A lot of people will go and take some paint remover and put over this right here, take all of this paint off of this right here, and then blue it and make it look more, make it look older. And then they'll take the handle right here and modify it a little bit where this head comes up, and they'll sand it down and then put some maybe Indian designs on it, and just kind of decorate a little bit and then stain it to make it look older. And but this is a good company right here, and on sale, if you look on eBay, these things run about $70 from the company. And if you find them on Amazon or eBay sometime, you can pick up one for about $45. You might have, I think, maybe $50 at the most in one of these. And actually, it's really good, especially hiking and stuff like that. So H&B Tomahawks are really nice. H&B Tomahawks are the one a lot of people want, but they on a back order for weeks, several weeks, probably 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks sometime, because they're handmade, the metal part of them, and forged, kind of like old style. Now this is drop forged right here. This is like a piece of metal that's beaten up and forced and forged together. Just read up on drop forged metal, and you get an idea how this is done. So this is still like 1095 hardness, so it's really well made. And this one has one of the things I wanted was the flat hammer side right here. You can do a lot of different things with that hammer part right there, putting in tent stakes, things like that, breaking up various things. And that's to me a good thing to have with a Tomahawk. So just want to show you how these things are packaged. I have several Tomahawks. I got a couple of these right here, and a couple of cold steel Tomahawks too. And so just give you an idea, and we'll throw this one, but this is the way it comes packaged, and it feels pretty firm. The other thing, if you want to read the bottom of that, that's one thing that reminds me. On these type of Tomahawks, this part up here is not fastened to the handle. It's made so that you can slide this off and just bump the handle, and this right here will slide down. And you can hold it in your hand and use it for a lot of different things, shaving wood and things like that to make a fire. And you can even use the stick right here as a rabbit stick. You probably want to have an extra stick if you're going to use it for a rabbit stick or something like that, temporarily. So, but these are very unique and well made, and I think really worth the money, because this thing is solid. It's got a weight to it, and we'll look at it more. The other thing about a Tomahawk, since it's got a sharp blade on it, you really want something to protect yourself from it in case you fall down in the woods. There's always a good chance you can trip and fall, right? The other thing here is this right here is your Tomahawk cover right here that's made for this CRKT, and fits perfectly, and it protects you. Last thing in the world you want to do is be out in the woods somewhere in the middle of nowhere and fall down with one of these things. A lot of times they're not really super sharp or anything like that, because if you throw them, they'll ding up the edge real easy if you make them super sharp. But some people like to sharpen them and even shave hair with them. And so if you fell down with something like that and it hit you wrong, it would cut you really bad. So you definitely want a sheath for it. And CRKT didn't make a sheath for it for some time, but they make a really nice sheath for it too. So I think you have about $45, $50 in the Tomahawk, well made. I think it's hickory stick right here. And then I think this is about $27, $28 for a sheath for one of these right here. And most time with tomahawks, some of them you have to have the right sheath for that particular tomahawk for that to work well. So that's a good thing there. Okay, guys, I'm going to be throwing this one. You can see the difference in the size, and this tomahawk is a lot heavier than this hatchet. Generally, with a normal hatchet, you're going to have a piece of a metal wedge in here to hold the blade on. On tomahawks, you don't have that metal wedge in here either. But on hatchets, generally you do. But if they had a wood handle, you would have a wedge on a hatchet, but a tomahawk you don't. So from right here, it's a tree, and this one is heavy. You might want a lighter one, but I got that hammer edge on the end too. So they make them without the hammer edge, which makes these a lot lighter, which is what you might like. So what we do, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm holding the camera, so it's kind of hard to tell what's going on right here. It's a little over rotated. Again, vertical would be the way that you should hit. Okay. I stepped about 6 inches closer. I think this thing's heavy, so it bears into the tree a little better. I've got this hatchet laying on the ground, my foot right here. That gives me my distance marker. Again, it's all about distance and releasing at the same speed, same height, for accuracy, that is. And with this one, so you got no lip on the end, it's like a handshake. You're letting it slide out of your hand. You're not spinning a tomahawk or hatchet. You're letting it slide out of your hand. You ready? Now on that throw, it over rotated, going a little bit too much, but I was aiming for this right here. Okay, so if it's over rotating, if I step in a little bit closer, it's going to hit like this, right? So that's what I need to do. So here's my marker. I've had my foot here. Let's go about 6, 8 inches closer. Okay. Okay. I was trying to make sure I held that camera when I threw. Now on this one, you see that's getting more toward the vertical. That's where you want it. Put my foot in the same spot, about 6 inches closer. Grab the handle down here. Okay. See, that's a lot better than what it was, right? And look how deep it's going in right here. This thing is heavy. Another thing too, anytime you buy a Tomahawk, buy an extra handle. These are pretty well made handles here. I think these are hickory. But you'll always break them if you're going to be throwing them. Okay. Okay. That's the example. You heard that sound? That was the wooden handle hitting. And these things do have a lot of weight behind them, so it's always possible you can break a handle if you're not careful. And if you are careful, you're going to break a handle eventually. One of the big things, well, I'm doing two things at one time. I'm holding a camera here. It's my Samsung 7. And it has good video quality, better than the GoPro. But aim for that small spot that you want. Now on this one I was aiming for this right here, and I hit to the left of it. So it's not hard. It's not hard to sink these Tomahawks in. I mean, day one, within 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you can be sticking these Tomahawks into the tree very easily in 15, 20 minutes without ever having thrown one. If you learn, see, like, grab it like a handshake, and when you let go of it, do not flick it. Do not flick it like that. When you let go of it, let it slide out of your, let me get this view, let it slide out of your hand. Okay? Always grip it down, choke down on it, and let it slide out of your hand. Okay? Just like that. Just a couple of tips on throwing your tomahawk or your hatchet or your axe or your knives is find your distance and throw at the same speed and throw at the same distance. If you're throwing at 14 feet 1 inch, you're releasing this at 14 feet 1 inches from your target. Try to do that every time. Don't lean forward on one throw and lean back on the next one or in between. You have to release at the same distance every time. When you get fairly proficient with it, you can throw your shoulder and your hip that direction, but it has to stop. You're gonna have some muscle memory. And this tree, probably 8 inches wide, so it's not a real big target as far as the width of it horizontally, or I should say vertically. So look at something the size of an ant on it and aim for that. So aim your tomahawk or hatchet at your tree, sight down it, kind of like this, come back, and you find what's comfortable for you. You don't want to come back way too far, because then you got control that more, and release it vertically. You don't want to release it like that. You want to release it vertically with your target, and let it slide out of your hand. Do not flick it with your wrist. And once you find your distance, so find that ant, aim. I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, you won't have a problem sticking it in the tree. Now this is, again, what we call over rotation, which means I'm a little farther back, 6 or 8 inches probably, or a foot. And the perfect throw is when it's like this. But don't worry about perfect throw, just as long as you get it sticking, okay? That's the fun of it right there. And then later on, if you ever want to get in competition, then that'll be a little different. But Again, with your grip, let it slide out of your hand. Do not flick it. Don't flick it. Let it slide out of your hand like that. And in 15-20 minutes, you'll be sticking these things in the tree. That simple. Faster, one throw, it's going to do this. If you throw it slower and you got your distance right, it's going to hit where it's supposed to. The handle's going to be more vertical. Okay. I'm going to step just 1 foot closer, and let's see where we're at. We should hit, the handle should end up vertical with a tree, okay? Look for that one tiny spot. Okay. I step 1 foot closer, and notice my handle, it's almost vertical. It's a lot better. But that's the perfect one. Most time, you know, we really don't care if it's like this as long as it sticks, you know. That's the fun of it. I'm going to throw a hatchet here. Step back, throw a tomahawk. With the hatchet, threw that one just right. Step back about 1.5 steps for the tomahawk. Not much difference, you know, like 2.5 feet probably between the distance of throwing the hatchet with the orange handle and the tomahawk. Now the cold steel knife. Now the cold steel. The other cold steel. That one, knocked the other one out, but it stuck. So we got our hatchet in, and that's a good hit right there. Normally, you know, it's a little bit of overthrow, not much. It should be, the handle should be vertical, but that's not bad. This one, a little bit of underthrow. It should be vertical too, but the bottom part's coming in. This blade is good right here. It should be horizontal. This one is pretty much horizontal. The other blade, I can't remember what position it was in, but the third one knocked it out because it was stuck there. So that's not bad. Now, once I find the distance for this one, I got to step back about 1.5 steps, about, well, I say 1.5, probably about 2.5 feet to throw this one. Then I got to step up about 2 feet to throw the knives. Once you get your distance, that's the critical thing in throwing knives and hatchets and tomahawks. And okay.